What's up, guys? This is Mike from Examiner.com here with Barbara Dunkelman. So, Barbara, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Absolutely fantastic.
So, how are you enjoying RTX so far?
Well, it's been pretty crazy. We've been here since Tuesday setting up, so it feels like I've already done a whole convention, and now it just started today. But the stuff that has been going on has been incredible. I mean, the fans have been reacting to everything awesomely, and everyone seems like they're having a really great time, so that's all I could hope for.
Right. So when do you start planning for RTX, like a year in advance, or what?
Yeah, this year it'll be July 7th, so day after RTX stops, start again. Yeah.
And so how long have you been at Rooster Teeth exactly?
I started at Rooster Teeth in December of 2011, but I've been following the company since October of 2004.
Right. So can you tell us a little bit about that process of you transitioning from a fan to an employee?
Yes, if I could fully explain it properly. But I was a fan of Rooster Teeth ever since October of 2004. Watched all of their content. I joined their community site where I met other people, and then I met Rooster Teeth at other events, including fan events in Toronto, which is the country I'm from. And just got to know them on a deeper level, and over time, after being very involved with the community and running events for them, they said, hey, you've done a lot for us, we like you, we want to see if there's any way we could bring you on board and possibly make you part of the team. And I had never anticipated that or expected that to happen, so it was pretty cool. It was a crazy transition, yeah.
So how was that for you, for like talking to the people from Rooster Teeth, kind of getting into the process of entering this role? Was it a bit scary or what?
Yeah, it was very surreal for sure, because I would say, a fanboy. I was a huge fanboy. I watched all of Red vs. Blue, the shorts, everything they put out. So to actually now be in a room with these guys who I've looked up to for 10 years is crazy. Yeah.
So on top of that, how would you say that the community's changed since you've come on as community manager?
It was a lot more tight-knit before, just because it was so few people compared to what it is now. And there was only a few things that Rooster Teeth did back then. They did Red vs. Blue, and then they branched out to other little mini-series and then shorts and other live-action stuff. So it's very different now, where it doesn't feel like there's as much of a tight-knit group, but everybody still has that welcoming attitude to them. So if they see someone else with a Rooster Teeth shirt walking down the street, they'll say, hey, what's up, like Rooster Teeth? And I think that sense of community within our community has always been so strong, and it's just continued to grow ever since then.
Great, thank you. And how would you say that you've had to change your approach in order to accommodate that growth and that change?
Just, it's very difficult to make sure everyone feels like they've been heard, and that they're, not just a little fish in a huge pond. So we always try to make the effort to make sure that our fans feel loved and appreciated, and that they're being listened to when they have feedback or comments. So that's a lot of energy to expel in a day, making sure that everyone feels like they're being paid attention to. But I do my best.
So on top of being the community manager, you've also kind of gotten behind in front of the camera a little bit, particularly with your voice acting. How's that been?
That is something I never expected to do growing up. I always thought I would have either like a marketing job or an advertising, something behind the scenes. But I guess Rooster Teeth identified me as someone who was good on camera and good in the productions that they wanted to produce. So I went in with the mentality of I don't want to say no to anything that Rooster Teeth gives me opportunity to do. So podcast started, and they started putting me on that, and that's still scary to this day. And then Ruby came up, and that has like changed my life completely. Like getting to be involved in something that people are so passionate and dedicated over, and they do fan art and costumes, and to be someone who is looked up to in that sense is like ridiculously crazy.
Now, who approached you about first doing that, by the way?
It was Monty Ohm, the creator of Ruby. He actually told me that he didn't know what he wanted to do, but he had an idea that I should play Goldilocks in something. So then I think that was actually the first character he created, and then he kind of went off storybook and classical characters. So, Ruby's Red Riding Hood, Weiss is based off Snow White, Blake is based off of Beauty from Beauty and the Beast, and then Yang is based off of Goldilocks. So it kind of stemmed from there. Yeah.
So would you say that you kind of get any input on your creative development for your character?
Monty told me that Carrie and Miles, who are the main writers for the show, they kind of went in with the idea that this character is based off of Barbara, which is like crazy to me to think about. So they do write the character in a very me type of way. So a lot of the stuff that they have her say or do is something that I would say or do, just because I've been friends with these guys for a couple of years now, and they've gotten to know me very well. So it's interesting to see certain things like, oh, I agree with what she's doing here. That's awesome.
And so last two questions here. So number one is, what would you say is kind of one of the weirdest memories you have of working with Rooster Teeth so far?
I think it was the first time someone ever asked for my autograph. Because it's like, I'm just some kid from Canada who, why are you asking for my autograph? Like, you want me to write my name on something that belongs to you? And that was just like, oh sure, okay. That was weird. It was cool. I remember it all the time, and I'll never forget that, because, you want to stay humble.
Yeah. Great. And then final question, of course, is what would you say is the most rewarding experience that you've had so far? Just a moment, maybe, where you're like, yeah, this is amazing. I love this. This is what I do this for.
Last year, after RTX 2013, we had a meeting with all of our guardians, which are our event volunteers. Last year we had about 300. And we had a meeting with all of them just to say thank you and go over the weekend. And I started tearing up and getting really emotional, just like saying thank you to all of them for dedicating their weekend and being so passionate and, kind to all of the attendees who came up. And they really they made the event for us. And seeing these people who are from the community give up that energy and time for Rooster Teeth is like, I'm blessed. I'm blessed to have people like that.
Thank you so much. Again, this has been Mike Hughes with Barbara Dunkelman at RTX 2014. So take care.